one of the very first questions I get is always like, how do I get more impressions? How do I get more calls from paid ads?
Okay, well, a couple of good questions there. Really two different things. The impressions are really not important, not that important at all. Anyone can generate impressions. I've seen the entirely wrong type of campaigns that generated thousands of impressions. Even clicks are not that important, especially if they're the wrong type of clicks, because roofing clicks, everyone knows they're a bit more expensive than most other markets. There's some reasons for that, partly because a roofing project has a higher ticket item, higher return on investment. Also because there's a lot of roofers over the years that have jumped into Google Ads more so than some other industries. Some of them have kind of created really more of a bidding war than there needs to be. So impressions and clicks are not nearly as important as the second part of the question, which is increasing the calls. That's really what we focus on, is the quality calls. There's with roofing, especially with the click costs, there's not going to be hundreds or thousands of phone calls every month from like you might get from a product that people need on an everyday basis. There's going to be a smaller number of calls, so we focus on the quality and the cost per phone call. That's the most important, and there's several ways you can improve that. The first item, the first thing you can do to improve your overall call volume is have a well-rounded approach. Google Ads combined with SEO, optimizing your Google My Business listing, Google Guarantee if it's available. We're going to talk about that more in a couple of minutes. Google Ads, a well-rounded approach, so that if one of your sources of leads has a bad month, your other 3 or 4 can pick it up. So it's a well-rounded approach. The second thing is you have to track, especially the phone calls. A lot of people that I talk to think, well, I'll just know where the calls are. I'll ask them where they found me. That doesn't work, because people don't know the difference between whether they clicked on an ad versus a Google My Business listing. So asking them definitely never works. You have to track it. We use CallRail to track the phone calls, and then we know exactly which calls came. You have to track that, otherwise you'll never know. So that's the second thing you have to track. The third thing is the mistake I see a lot of companies make, especially in the roofing sector, is they think they have to be the top spot all the time throughout the day, and it's very easy to overbid and overpay per click. So then your budget's gone and you've gotten a couple of clicks for the day, and now they appeared at the top spot, but the best approach is to spread it out, not necessarily go for the top spot every time. And in that way, you're spreading your budget out, you're getting more clicks for a cheaper rate, which gives you more opportunities for quality calls, especially with expensive click cost sectors like roofing. It's more important to have a higher number of quality clicks to give yourself that chance for more phone calls. So you don't have to be the top spot. A lot of people just go in, all the main optimization that they make is increasing the bids. That's not really where you do have to be competitive in your ad position, but you don't have to be the top spot even 90% of the time. It's more probably the very top spot. You probably want to be more 50%, 60% of the time, and then you want to be in the top 4 a higher percentage than that, 60 or 70% of the time. Otherwise, you're overpaying. So that's the other thing that I see. And the other thing is you have to look at the search terms and add in negatives. We actually start with a list of 4,500 negatives, many of which are customized to roofing. The mistakes that we've seen, for instance, anything related to RVs or campers or auto makes. We've got negatives for that. Like I said, over 4,500 negatives that we've seen that have been low quality clicks in the past. So you don't have to go through that. And that's the biggest thing, is starting out with quality terms and then continually optimizing even more from there.
That's awesome. So how to get more impressions is the wrong question.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. You can get impressions from anything. Impressions typically don't amount to very much. You have to have the impressions to get the leads, but looking at the number of impressions is really quite insignificant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. It's great to know that now. And and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like the number one metric that we're after here is cost per call.
Definitely. Quality calls and the cost per call.
Right. And you also said that so the whole goal here is why you're running paid ads to begin with is to get more calls, get more jobs. And if you want to increase calls from paid ads, one of the best ways that you said is to have a well-rounded approach. So don't just do paid ads.
Definitely. There's a lot of things, sources out there, especially related to Google. There's the Google My Business listing, which in some cases there's multiple listings. That's usually a bad thing, and it comes from different people over the course of time that have managed that part of the business. And new person sets up a new Google My Business, and sometimes there's 3 or 4 duplicate Google My Business listings. So that's one thing you have to really watch out for, is duplicate Google My Business listings. And then the Google guarantee, we're going to talk more about that in a minute. And then of course, Ken is more of the SEO expert than I am. I focus more on paid section, but that's a big part of a well-rounded approach as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's it. So to increase calls, you have to also you have to have a well-rounded approach.